You got paid, you paid rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, phone, and by the middle of the month, the money was gone. You've cut what you can, you're still short. Here's what nobody told you before you signed that first lease. Living alone is not expensive because you are bad with money. It is expensive because the entire cost structure was built around two incomes, and the gap keeps getting worse. Open your bank app and look at the month's ledger. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, phone. Every line item is yours, no one to split with. For single adults in cities like Los Angeles, New York, or Austin, the average solo housing cost now sits around $2,189 a month. That's not just rent, that's the full package: electricity, water, internet, insurance, all stacked on top of each other. Take Maya in Los Angeles. Her studio runs $2,300. Utilities tack on another $120. Renter's insurance, $22. Internet, $70. The total, $2,512 before she's even bought groceries. In New York, James pays $3,790 for a studio in Brooklyn. Add $150 for utilities, $30 for insurance, $80 for internet. His monthly shelter cost is $4,050. Meanwhile, in Austin, Brianna's rent is $1,580. Utilities and internet bring her to $1,750. Each of them works full-time, each has a steady paycheck, each is still running the numbers and coming up short. Nationally, the $2,189 average isn't a fluke, it's the math for a one-person household, pulled from the Consumer Expenditure Survey and rental market data. And it's not just the big cities. That adds up. Median rent, fixed costs, and the premium you pay for not splitting anything. Most of these bills don't shrink just because you live alone. The phone plan, the internet, the power bill, they're priced for households, not individuals. The system assumes there's someone else to share the load, but for millions of single adults, every expense is a solo act, and the total is higher than most people ever warned you about. Rent doesn't care if you live alone. The bill is the bill, whether you have a roommate or not. In Los Angeles, the average studio now rents for $2,480 a month. That is not a luxury address or a downtown high-rise, just a standard place to live, 4 walls and a door. If you split a 2-bedroom with someone, your share would be $1,240. But when you sign the lease alone, you are on the hook for the entire $2,480. Over a year, that's a $14,880 penalty for not sharing. There's no discount for independence, just a bigger number on every payment. This isn't just a Los Angeles problem. Across the country, rents have climbed 31% since 2019, according to Zillow's Rent Index and The Economist's National Series. That's the fastest 5-year jump in recent memory, and it's not slowing down. The so-called singles tax is everywhere. Whether you're in Dallas, Miami, or New York, the math is the same. Rent is the one expense that never scales down, no matter how carefully you budget or how frugal you are with everything else. It's the largest fixed cost in your life, and it's built to be split. You can cut back on groceries or skip a night out, but you can't negotiate rent down just because you're the only one on the lease. The system expects 2 incomes per household. If you're solo, you pay double, no matter how many hours you work. That's the math that makes living alone feel impossible, even when you're doing everything right. The true shock isn't just the total, but the realization that this is how the market was designed. Pay full price or find someone to split it. Rent isn't the only bill that refuses to shrink. Every month, utilities hit your account: electricity, gas, water, internet, trash, each with a base fee that doesn't care if you're 1 person or 4. The average single renter pays $370 a month just to keep the lights on and the water running. That's not a typo. It's the Consumer Expenditure Survey's number for a 1-person household. If you split that with a roommate, your share would be less than $200. Alone, you pay it all. Groceries are another quiet penalty. The average single adult spends $572 a month on food. You don't get a discount for buying less. Family size packaging is cheaper per meal, but single shoppers end up paying more for smaller portions or tossing out spoiled produce when life gets busy. James, a server in New York, talks about throwing out half-used bags of spinach and cartons of milk every week, money wasted, not by choice, but by design. The system isn't built for one. It's built for the bulk buyer, the household with someone else to share the fridge and the bill. Then come the subscriptions and fixed services. Your Netflix, your phone plan, your renter's insurance. Each one is priced as if there's someone else to split the tab. No matter how carefully you budget, these costs add up. The baseline you're expected to cover before you even think about saving or going out already leaves little room to breathe. The numbers don't lie. Living alone means paying for a household, not just yourself. Since 2001, the average rent in America has jumped by 21%. In that same stretch, median income for renters has barely moved, just a 2% uptick. That is not a rounding error. It is a growing gap that swallows every raise before you even see it. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks this divergence year after year, while the Consumer Price Index's rent component keeps ticking upward, outpacing nearly every other household expense. It is not just a matter of feeling squeezed. For more than 1 in 5 single adults, the math is so tight that skipping meals to cover rent has become routine. National surveys capture the reality behind the numbers. You cut the grocery list, you stretch leftovers, you wait until payday for the next full cart. The skipped meal is not just a headline, it is Tuesday night, it is the end of the month, it is the background noise of solo living for millions. The problem is not just that costs are rising, it is that paychecks are not keeping up. Every year, the rent curve climbs a little higher, while the income curve barely budges. The result is a system where even full-time work does not guarantee you can afford a basic place to live on your own. The hardship is not hidden in the fine print, it is right there in the difference between what you earn and what your bills demand. This is not a personal budgeting failure, it is a structural mismatch built into the math of modern life, where the cost of living alone keeps pulling away from what a single income can cover. Every dollar you pay for rent is the result of a calculation you never see. Developers and landlords are not setting prices based on what a single paycheck can handle. They are using models that assume 2 incomes will split the bill. The industry term is minimum viable unit, the smallest apartment that still brings in enough rent to make the building profitable. That number is set by the portfolio, not by your paycheck. Corporate owners run algorithms that set price floors across all their units, aiming for occupancy rates and revenue targets, not affordability for solo tenants. The end result, your rent is built for 2, even if you live alone. There is no hidden discount for independence, just a system that expects you to absorb the full cost, because the math behind the lease was never designed for one. This is not an accident, it is the logic of the market at work. Austin used to be the escape hatch, move south, get a cheaper lease, start fresh. That window slammed shut almost overnight. Studio rents in Austin jumped 25% in a single year, now averaging $1,580 a month. For newcomers, the math is blunt. The required salary to keep rent under 30% of income is $63,200, but the city's median wage is just $45,460. That means only about 1 in 5 full-time workers can actually afford a studio alone. If you are 25 and thinking about signing your first lease here, this is not just a rough patch, it is a warning. The promise of affordable solo living is gone. Not because you failed, but because the system moved the finish line while no one was looking. The next affordable city is already on the list for a rent spike. The escape routes are closing faster than anyone expected. Your rent, your groceries, your utilities, none of these became harder because you miscalculated. The system expects 2 paychecks, even when there's only 1. As costs keep rising faster than wages, the math doesn't add up on its own. And that's not your failure, it's the design.